What is good, man? We've just got the squad today, right
What's
here.
up?
Are we shadow banned?
At opening bell. Yeah, dude. Who cares? The market is, the market's falling apart. Honestly, spaces have been like quite down across the board. Like the other day, it was like 2 p.m. and the largest space I saw had like 30 people in it on my feed.
Wow, bro.
Just people have just left.
It's over.
Bro,
I was like, this is, well, I mean, I know that, I don't know if you guys saw, but, Pride Punks, the account got banned. And a bunch of communities have dealt with this over the last like month or two. So it's possible that the algo is downgrading, crypto accounts like that. That's certainly possible. That the AI is picking up this shit and it's just like fucking crush. Nobody gets to see you. That's really interesting, man. Wow.
I mean, the way that I think about it is 2-3 years ago before Spaces, I used to record with nobody listening.
Yeah.
Right. When you do like a podcast before Spaces, it's literally just you and the other person on the screen. And you hope people listen.
I don't think we've never had a space without anybody in it. That's nuts, dude.
Nuts. That's true. I think this is the first one.
That's okay. Well, we'll blame it on
the times, maybe.
We'll blame it on the hack or on the what was it, the cyber attack on X that had happened. But moving forward, what do you guys think of the Bob space yesterday? I mean, that was probably one of our best spaces we've had in probably a few months. A lot of interest. Do you think Own Fun and ICP has the legs to capture and corner the entire ordinals, or I guess runes market?
What do you think, Chris? Man, I'll let you go.
I see you smiling. What do you mean? Adam? What are you?
Bro, I look at it and I'm like, if I had to bet, if I were a betting man, I would bet on the under. I don't think it survives. I don't see it right now. It's just the market timing is terrible. Meme point down. Like, who's going to, I mean, I don't see it. Could be wrong, but I don't see it. I just don't think right now everybody's so fried on the Bitcoin side that, they have a really, really, really tough road to hoe. At this point in time, it seems unlikely. I appreciate the effort, but it seems unlikely right now.
Yeah, nice shirt, by the way, Adam. Adam's rocking the mythic, semi-mythic Emblem Vault T, super fresh. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot for them to be in. They just need to keep on shipping. I saw that it was down today. I mean, crypto apps are a lot different from Web 2 apps where a lot of users for a crypto app is like 10,000 people or 20,000 people, when even like a mid-tier SaaS product gets like hundreds of thousands of users every single month. So it's definitely a tough road, but you love to see the effort. You love to see the traction. I just hope that they know it, but they just have to keep on shipping shit out, right? They have to get these BRC20s on the platform. They have to get the legacy runes on the platform. And that should be like the number one priority. Like, they should be siphoning as much liquidity as they can from Magic Eden straight to their platform. That should be their number one priority right now.
Yeah,
I love that Chris asked him if he had war gamed everything. That was my new favorite term in terms of strategy. Is did you war game it out?
You got to war game what your competitors are going to do, so you can war game how you're going to react against it, right? And a lot of people just don't even plan for anything like that, so it's kind of odd.
Yeah, I was going to say if they iterate fast enough, that's the thing they can, maybe they'll hit on some other aspect of DeFi. Seems like a good strategy, and yeah, to Chris's point, that's a.
What do you think, Jake?
Did you see that he somewhat sugarcoated my initial claim about withdrawing runes from the platform? It's completely validated
for them to be withdrawn. Really,
completely validated. He basically
like,
just
why
said,
would you want to do that? Why would you want to?
Why would they ever want to leave?
It's like, well, why are they even Bitcoin in it? Why are they even Bitcoin assets?
That's like what I was leading to, is if they never leave, then they're not. I guess it's runes. And I mean, they etch it, right? But it never actually leaves. And there's no right. And there's definitely a bottleneck there. And his rebuttal was they just don't need to leave.
Right.
So
if a rune falls in the forest, is it a rune? I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a semi-rune.
I mean, if that's the case, right? If that's the way that they're viewing it, is that these runes are never going to leave the platform and they're not going to build in that direction. Like they're just going to allow withdrawals, but they're not going to help builders and creators move runes off the platform. Then they basically have to build a Bitcoin application for everything, right? They're going to have to build a runes lending platform. They're going to have to build a runes etching platform, right? They're going to have to basically build the entire toolkit on ICP. Definity definitely has the money to do that. That's for sure. I mean, they've raised billions of dollars back in 2017, so that treasury could be even much higher.
Yep.
This is the only ICP application I've ever seen, to be honest, that has success. They do have the Bet BTC platform. They just they have to be committed then to build out literally 5 to 10 of these DeFi applications for runes, so that these things never leave. I mean, if they don't do that, then it just is a meme coin trading platform, and builders just choose to not deploy there, and it just becomes more of a meme coin, which is fine.
I mean, it's not like a terrible take, because that's kind of where they are today, right? They're only on Magic Eden. Runes only exist on Magic Eden and in your Xverse wallet. And so for them to only exist on Odin Fund is not too big of a stretch of where we are now. You know, they have higher volumes over there. It's actually a better place to be for the time period. But long term, yeah, I think it's strange. But for the time that we are where we are today, it doesn't seem like a bad strategy, actually.
Yeah, you just can't access some of the emerging technologies, like, for example, with like fluid tokens, you can like stake your runes, right, for rewards, or take it to .swap, or some of these other kind of applications that are being experimented with. You just wouldn't be able to participate in that, which is fine, for some people, if you just want to exist within the kind of ICP ecosystem. But yeah, I thought it was a good call. They're definitely crushing it. The one thing that I learned from that is referral systems, dude. I think that's literally what took over, or that's definitely what led them to have this like second level of explosion. All the questions that people came up, they were just like, "What, Bob? When the fuck am I getting paid these commissions?" It's like all anyone cared about. And so from what it sounded like, they make $3 for the platform. Odin Fund makes $3 for every token launched. They take $1 of that and they give it to the referral, and then the platform fee for swaps, I think was it 0.25, and then 0.15 goes to Odin Fund, and then 0.1 goes to the referral, or 0.1 goes to the LP stakers, 0.1 goes to Odin Fund, and then 0.05 goes to referrals or something like that. Yep. And he said the top referrals made 0.2 Bitcoin so far around. So 20K in a month? Like that's
really good.
If you're in these like Asian WeChats where you've got 40,000 people in there, right? You just share it and you get 100 or 200 people to sign up, and they do literally 1 or 2 trades, and you're probably making a few $1,000s on it.
Yep.
You so just wonder how we need to borrow,
right? I mean, I like it. I like it. But at the end of the day, you have to attract users who are interested in using your platform, rather than just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not putting people down, but low value people, meaning that just low amount of money they're going to bring to your platform, right? And we've seen it a lot in kind of runes, or certainly in BRC20s, where it's like people are just looking for that thing where they can buy it for $1 and flip it for $1,000. Like they're looking for that. I mean, I would look for it too. Everybody's looking for it, but it seems like that game has run its course. Like we've run that on every chain. Like it's not really happening anymore, because there's no buyers on the other side. Who's going to buy this stuff you bought for $1, right? For $1,000. Like who believes buying it for $1,000, it's going to run at 10,000? Like it's just, I don't know. It just seems unlikely at this point in time.
We'll see. We'll see. In other news, I don't know if you guys have been following this, but DeFi AI has started to catch some bids and some legs. Why is this not showing up? And it's being led by something called Banker Bot, which is SocialFi, I think, what do you call it? It was like social AI trading. It's where people will tag Banker to deploy a token, or you can deploy a token, you can swap, and I think you can transfer through Twitter by tagging BankerBot. It's actually somewhat smart because it keeps the mindshare up. If you look here on the live stream, the category, if you categorize by DeFi AI, Banker is number one with almost an 8% mind share. And then second is Hanon with 1.5, and third is Griffin with 1%. Those are like kind of the main three. We got Tensor down at number 7, or Hustle down at number 7 with a half. But if you have to continually tag this bot, then it's going to keep the mind share up because people are tagging it 4, 5, 6 times to deploy token, to swap, to transfer, to do everything. I personally am a little surprised. I didn't think this was going to take off when we talked about this before. I thought it's a little bit kind of, I'd say it's like more kind of promotional. It's a little bit more kind of like theater, in my opinion. Like if you're making really large size trades, I don't know if, or if you want to trade in secrecy, I guess, like most people, this isn't the case. But if you want, if it's good for meme coins, I suppose, because it catches kind of that social wave.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's on base. And so our buddy Emily has been all over this thing. And actually, I think one of the reasons why it took off is there's something called DRB, Debt Relief Bot, which was deployed by Grok. So they played the same strategy, which somebody did with AI XBT, where they got AI XBT to essentially create a token. Well, they gave it they asked, like with AI XBT and with Grok, they asked what would be the perfect kind of meme coin. And then they gave these details, both the AIs, and then somebody came in and tagged the deploy bot and came in and deployed the token. Yep. So Debt Relief Bot, and I saw this very early. I don't know why I didn't buy this. Like, big mistake. It's now up to about $40 million. And Grok still continues to promote it, which is kind of crazy. You're just psyoping the AI into a meme coin, which is somewhat nice. But I think because of this, because of DRB running, people have started to follow BankerBot a lot more. And I see now even bored Elon Musk this morning is going out, and he created his own token called Cool, which you could see here. And he's been really playing around with it, which is interesting. And he's now asking to see if he can, he's been asking to do things that aren't even live. Like he said, collect all fees from the Cool, from like the Cool LP, and then use them to buy Cool. And then the founder says, Baker can't collect fees for you automatically yet. You'll have to claim them for yourself in the private terminal. And so Board then says, stop being lazy and figure this out. Board Elon Musk, who has like 1 million followers, right? 1.6. He also tried to have the bot burn some of the tokens as well. So you can see that this is really turning into like a SocialFi kind of product. And it's now leading the charge. It at one point did flip Griffin, but it has come back down to 32 million. Griffin's at 40 and Hanon's at 63. We got Agent Hustle down at 1.4, but there's only 2 DeFi AI, or 3, I guess, DeFi AI tokens that are up over the last 7 days. And that's BankerBot, Hustle, and something called Tada. Do we think DeFi AI is going to be this category of AI that takes off and comes out of this bull run with as what we call a mega trend, not just like a small meta? And then what are your overall thoughts of social AI trading and kind of Banker leading the charge here?
Well, I think the what Banker, and I think what was it called, is like Clanker. Clanker's the deploy bot. Getting them to, basically tricking them once Grok, kind of went live as a reply guy, was really smart. I mean, of course, we all immediately, I was like, oh, it's a great thing. And like you, I saw it at like $1 million, and I was like, screw it, I'm not going to do it. but it's literally running the cycle, and we've already seen this happen. And yeah, so it gets a lot of mind share. We know that that's not sustainable though, right? It's like people aren't going to be doing I mean, it's just seems very, very unlikely that people are going to be doing transactions on Twitter other than things they want to promote. And, you know, they'll get somebody like Bored Elon to do it because he can make some money at it, you know, but it doesn't feel like this is going to have great legs. I think what we're doing does have great legs because it's much deeper than just, you know, a meme coin play. So obviously for that, I'm super bullish for, you know, DeFi AI, and super excited to get Hustle out shortly so people can play around. And like we were talking offline, and I had a call, you know, before this show, you know, everybody wants an AI bot to make it money, right? Nobody's figured that out, how that works. This is kind of one example where the deployer, you know, on base, you can actually earn royalties. And so I think Grok already has, you know, I don't know, $50,000 or $100,000 sitting there in royalties.
I think it's like 500,000.
Is it 500 now? Okay, it's a crap ton now. But he has to actually go. Like Grok's very unlikely going to go and like claim those royalties, right? So, but for an individual like Bored Elon, like this makes a lot of sense, and actually provides an interesting way where, you know, you don't have to dump on your followers, which is kind of more interesting. So who knows, that may get some traction, you know, with BankerBot and with Clanker. But I think what we're doing is like, that's like real DeFi AI. And so we'll see, you know, what people do with it. I'm really excited about people just building stuff using Hustle. Like, how can Hustle, whatever, go farm a game, go farm a crypto project, do these kind of things that we're kind of talking about. And I'm just excited for, you know, devs to get in there and actually like build with him and see what he can do. It's exciting.
And to put some things into perspective, at least for the underlying technology. So you have Odin Fund on Bitcoin, which is like a token launchpad. You have Pump Fund on Solana, and then Clanker is the one on Base, which is a token launchpad. So then BankerBot is essentially integrated Clanker to allow you to deploy tokens on Twitter. So it uses Clanker on the back end, and it's called Banker, which is pretty interesting. Which I like seeing this take off because it just brings more attention to the DeFi AI category, and people are experimenting. And if people are experimenting and having success, then it means that it gives more legitimacy to the sector, and that there's a lot more to explore here. Like, for example, we can, whatever they're doing, because through Twitter, we could just do the same thing with the Hustle account if we choose to, right? There's always this fear that Twitter just kind of demotes the engagement, right, or nukes the account, and there's kind of other things that happen. So it's cool to see them go through the door. We did see what happened with the KOLs, and they shot up very high, and then they all imploded except for like one or two. And here, you know, we'll see what happens and to see if it takes off. And, you know, I suspect some of the properties of Banker will be borrowed by all of the AI bots that are still around. Chris, what's your take on the whole sector?
Whole sector, big picture, like the most bullish thing that's ever happened to crypto still. I mean, you're in the middle of DeFi, which is a mega trend. You're in the middle of AI, which is a mega trend. And crypto is literally how they meet and interact with each other. As far as like Banker hitting the timeline, it took me a minute to get it. I didn't really think that it was that innovative and stuff like that, but I actually think it's pretty cool. It reminds me of like a BitMEX troll box, but for the entire internet. And if you look back at like some of the most monumental kind of moments in crypto history, think like Duquan, like Steady Lads deploying more capital, and he just adds Banker and loads like 1,000 BTC to Luna or something like that. Or Sam Bankman-Fried and CZ dueling off, and CZ says, Banker, sell all the FTT in the estate, and just nukes the chart along with the tweet. And that's like a next level decapitation, right? Like that is like the ultimate actual like battlefield right there. And then you're actually kind of pinning the financial transaction to the message. Like this is like sent by, you know, the warrior. And so I think like that is pretty actually insane. How much staying power does it have? I don't know, but I think it will exist and that it's a good feature. It'll obviously probably calm down on the timeline, but to hit on a new feature is, that's every product's kind of dream. So I hope that they can just kind of stick with the momentum.
Yeah, they'll have to iterate on it a few times and see where we go from here. I saw that Heyanon as well, excuse me, has added a few things. They've been actually kind of really pushing a lot of updates. I saw they added, let me see if I can find it. They added perpetual swaps the other day, or like margin trading. I actually listened to a podcast from the founder, and I didn't realize it did a $10 million ICO on the token, and that he said he has 16 devs working on this.
Holy smokes.
16 devs. It's like, holy moly. His burn rate's like $1 million a month is what he said. And he said he's really just trying to make sure that everyone uses Heyanon, and that he's trying to literally integrate everything into the platform. So you could see here, if you look, they're pushing many updates per day. Like they just integrated Masari today, integrated WagMe, which is his platform, and they integrated like Cyber Perp yesterday. This was doing perps. So they are moving at a really, really rapid pace. This is something that everyone can do. It's just mostly APIs. And from him, is just, he just has a larger workforce doing this.
Yeah.
You begin to wonder where the differentiation will be. Like what's the moat, right? What is the technology that kind of bounds it all together? Is it the front end, like the UI? Is it just the community? Is it the token that bounds everyone, right? You got bag holders and community members who have bought the token in, and so they'll just continue to shill it and be kind of the loudest person. Or is it something like a new and novel feature like social fi trading, like they're doing with Banker? But Heyanon is moving at a quite rapid pace, and the market really hasn't moved the token too much. It's still sitting at a $60 million market cap, where Banker's almost at 40 million, even though Heyanon has tons of more features than anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to just add features for the sake of adding features, though. And so like the shotgun approach, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it here. You want to add the right features, and you want to keep the product lightweight. You don't want to just be integrating for integration's sake. And I think that's often kind of like a mistake. Like for me, I would rather keep it like bare bones with only the features and APIs that people actually want, rather than adding a bunch of clutter and just having the whole kind of platform dispersed in a bunch of different ways, where you have all these features that nobody's actually using or nobody actually even asked for.
Totally. I mean, coming up with like the one use case. And so, that's what Banker's been able to do, is come up with a good use case. And it's really interesting, like that idea of like launching tokens on Twitter, which, I don't know, we played around with over the past, it was probably almost 18 months ago, doing like the stamps on Twitter and stuff like that, which you saw people were extremely interested in. Like people's accounts were getting banned because they were putting so many stupid stamps on Twitter. You know what I mean? Literally, I remember one afternoon somebody was like, "Dude, delete your stamps," because people, like 5 people, just got their accounts banned, and I spent like an hour just deleting, all the fucking tweets I sent out, with stamps on them. It was like, so we knew that had legs, and but it's interesting. I'm much more aligned with Chris, where it's like you want to hit on something. Right. And it's much easier to hit on something if you just throw one dart at a time, rather than throwing 50 things where nobody actually knows what you're doing. Like, I don't even know what Heyanon necessarily is, even though I've seen it on the timeline. I don't, what's the app what am I using it for? Right. But we all know this is hard. This is what product, and product market fit is all about. It's difficult. So even with $10 million and 16 devs, it's hard.
16 devs, sometimes that's the moat. Sometimes, sometimes it just becomes too much.
Yeah.
In other product market fit, it sounds like people are finding ways to exploit Hyperliquid. I don't know if you saw this today. It's just financial engineering, I suppose. Somebody was able to siphon $4 million from Hyperliquid this morning. When I woke up, there was a bunch of people saying that Hyperliquid was hacked, but Some people were saying that this whale intentionally liquidated himself, which apparently he did. And some people think that this is a different exchange who's trying to bankrupt Hyperliquid.
Nice.
So some
Wait,
people don't
tell me how they did this. What'd they do?
It's a little bit above my understanding, to be honest. It's something about somebody opened here. I'll read some of this. So it says a trader turned 10 million USDC into a $271 million ETH long using high leverage. Jeez. Then they withdrew the collateral, forcing the Hyperliquid vault to take the trade. They walked away with 1.8 million in profit, while HLP ate a $4 million loss. And it sounds like it has to do something with like HLP is the protocol's liquidity vault. So the liquidity vault had to take on this long, leaving it exposed. And then they went and hedged on a different exchange, like on Binance, so that they can then profit the difference, while the long is basically liquidated on Hyperliquid, and then they profit on the other side. So it says HLP lost, quote unquote, only $4 million, which is roughly 1 month's of profit for the vault. So the system isn't breaking, but so the vault still remains as positive. It says that this is not the first time that Hyperliquid's been targeted. In June 2023, this same attacker apparently tried to manipulate synthetics using prices on centralized exchanges to exploit HLP a long time ago, 2 years ago. So some people are finding different ways to financially engineer DeFi or potentially try to bankrupt Hyperliquid.
There's smart motherfuckers out there, dude.
Yeah, I wish I was that smart. To be honest.
You know, and I mean, they probably put in work. It's like a team of guys who are like, okay, let's see what, you know, if we hedge here and buy here and sell here and risk $6 million. I mean, it's just like, whoa. But yeah, this is what geniuses do in their spare time, bro. It's crazy, right? Actually, it seems like pretty small, like small fry. Which kind of feels like, wow, they really are going after these guys just to go after them, you know? But yeah, who knows, man? This is way above my pay grade, bro. Way above, like miles above.
Chris, you ever tried to do some financial engineering, like this type of, you know, long short strategy, degen, profit, the arbitrage kind of stuff?
Not really between exchanges. Just not really my deal. You have to have like KYC in a lot of areas. I guess Hyperliquid doesn't have KYC. But it's just usually like, unless you're dealing with like huge bankrolls, it's extremely difficult because you can't move the markets. But Hyperliquid in general, I want to see it succeed. I mean, it was a huge narrative, brought some liquidity in, but I still don't really get the whole picture. Like, I don't, you know, they pivoted from just like a decentralized exchange to a whole kind of L1. I think that's like a stupid narrative. I don't think that makes sense. Yep. I think it was just for the valuation purposes, but I don't think it actually makes sense intuitively. And you know, the cycle is repeated a million times over where an exchange catches a lot of early traction because they don't have KYC, but then eventually you get big enough where you have to KYC, and that's like the whole value proposition. So as far as like just general Hyperliquid, that's kind of where I'm at. These things, they just run their course, and there'll be another one in 18 months that'll do the same thing.
It reminds me of like Franklin. You remember when Franklin, like if you or I tried to do like, you know, this financial engineering, remember when Franklin tried to rug the guys who were doing like the fake, you know,
yeah, he threw the bid up and they accepted it.
Yeah, he threw the bid up and they accepted it and he lost 100 ETH. Like that's the financial engineering that would happen to me, man. It would be like, so yeah, this is a no-go, bro. No-go zone.
So yesterday, you know, there's a few announcements in the NFT world. One of them being that Taproot Wizards announced their mint for the actual Taproot Wizards, a collection of 2121. The price, 0.2 Bitcoin for each of them. So if they all sell at 0.2, which they won't, the total rake is about $34 million.
Why not?
There's three ways.
Chris
because
is like
well, it's because there's three ways to mint. One of them is if you have two quantum cats alive and dead, you place them in a time lock vault during the mint, and then you can mint it for 0.1 Bitcoin. So at that point, there's 3,333 quantum cats. So you could have about 1,500, in theory, quantum cats minting at 0.1 Bitcoin. If you did do their Quest 5, which I think they're releasing today, then you may be able to mint it for 0.2. And then Udi said for any of the remaining, they're going to do a Dutch auction for, he said, the people who don't want to participate in anything. These are generally what he said, whales. I was listening to a Spaces he was doing yesterday. So he said whales who don't want to participate, they don't want to own quantum cats, they just want to buy a Taproot Wizard and call it a day. They'll do a Dutch auction and will probably bid much higher. Because of the announcement, quantum cats dropped almost 40%.
Really? Wow.
From 0.2 Bitcoin to what it sits at right now, 0.135 BTC. People were just accepting bids like no other immediately afterwards. It pumped like by 0.01 or 0.02 Bitcoin, and then just people just started accepting bids like crazy. You can see over here on the right-hand side. Are we bullish here? Are we bearish here? Do we think it sells out? Or do we think that some people are just being over dramatic? Of course, the thing happens anytime there's a high price mint, you get half the community saying that these guys are extractors and that, you know, they're not here for good. People are saying that Quantum Cats is kind of a VC charade. Yeah, OpCat is never coming, right? And then the other side, people are saying, well, you know, we want to support them because they've done a lot for Bitcoin, right? Starting this narrative of OpCat. Udi and Eric have been around for a long time. They have a pretty big team, right? And that they just want to have a collection of high value assets like CryptoPunks, where these things trade at, you know, 1 Bitcoin or more for the somewhat, I guess you call them the wealthy elite or the people who have made a lot of money. Adam, what is your take here on everything that has happened over the last 24 hours?
I mean, it's both. It's both. I mean, do you want to support builders? Sure. Should they earn, I don't know, $40 million off some JPEGs? You know, I mean, it's kind of setting up that, you know, I mean, I don't know who said it, you know, 6-8 months ago that Udi and the cats are going to be, or the wizards are going to be basically the Yuga of Bitcoin. That's certainly setting up. But I've seen, you know, there's been a lot of back and forth on the narrative on the timeline. And it's like, you know, if it's art, it's okay, you know, but if it's a VC or a group of people who are actually going to build stuff, it's not somehow okay to raise money through NFTs. Like, how's it okay that OMB made $30 million? Like, is that okay? You know, I mean, it's all like, dude, this is crypto. I don't know. Is any of it okay? I don't know, man. Whatever. Don't buy it if you don't want it, you know? I think Udi's played it pretty well. This is a strange time to launch it, but you know, I can't necessarily fade it because it's like he chose a time when there's nothing else going on. And so if people want to speculate, which they always do, this is a good, you know, could be a good place to speculate. But you see with the chart, people are like, oh, this is fuck this, you know? And so he might have a bit of a time minting out. For them, I think it's a fantastic, what better way to raise money than selling JPEGs? Like, this is like, it's magic money. You know, you don't have to pay. There's no VC. There's no, you know, ownership of your company. This is a fantastic way to raise money. So for them, I think it's smart. I think Udi's smart. It's a smart narrative. You know, if you don't like it, don't buy it though. That's
Quantum Cat listings are at an all-time high, 250 listings. I just literally went back an entire year, and there's never been more listings than there has been today.
I mean, we were talking, remember, with the cats who were like, oh, is it going to be, you know, you get a discount on, you know, the things. I think that's probably pretty disappointing for cat holders, right? You've held it this whole time.
Well, you get a 0.1 Bitcoin, but you have to own 2.
Yeah. I mean, so that, you know, it's a bit of I would, you know, it's a bummer. You know, I think, and obviously it reflects that people are a bit bummed out about that. And, you know, we've seen typically the best strategy. I mean, certainly with Yuga, the best strategy was just straight rewards, right? Where you just, if you owned a cat, you would basically get a wizard, or if you had 5 cats, you get a wizard, right? That would have pumped the price of the cats. That would have been exciting, but Udi chose, I can't say it's a bad, the dude's pretty good at strategy. So, I can't fade it.
Chris, you buying a Taproot wizard?
I don't know if I'll buy one, but I like what they're doing. I mean, they're kind of like one in a kind builders that have been in the industry for a long time. I mean, do I want them to have $40 extra million after raising huge amounts already? I'm not the raise police. I don't know. Sure, why not? You set these like hot, like moon in the sky kind of raises, and that kind of influences everyone else. Like, oh shit, I want to raise $40 million.
Yeah, dude. How many L2s do we see that? I mean, what are they? They don't even exist.
Yeah. So I mean, at least they have a community. I mean, at least you can probably be confident that money will stay building in crypto. I think at least a good amount of it. They've been here forever. And I just think in general, in crypto, we get so nitpicky on each other. And we get so upset when other, oh, they're making too much money. We actually want everyone to make a lot of money. And then that spills over outside of the industry. So I think, when people read about these huge raises from NFT collections, that influences people to want to make more high quality NFT collections. And I think Ordinals probably really needs like more high quality projects. So if that influences, 5 or 10 or 100 more builders in the ecosystem, I think it's worth it. And do I wish that they, given the times and how Ordinals have kind of struggled, do I think it might have been a better strategy to mint lower and give the community more of that upside? Then I think that would have probably been the best. But I mean, if you can raise $35 million selling some photos online, I think that's like a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Udi did say as well that Ordinal should be high value assets. At least this is the context that he's placing. And so this is for the whales out there, apparently. And that, if you can't afford it, then don't buy it. Right. That's how it is with luxury items. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. Just ignore it.
We'll see if those whales exist, the ancient Bitcoin whales, man. We'll see if they come out.
We will see. On the other side, moving to Ethereum very quietly, I literally have seen like maybe 1 or 2 people ever talk about this recently. There's a new #1 NFT collection consistently at #1
every day.
Every day, dude, for like the last week. Courtyard has been the #1 collection, 784 ETH, dude. These people are trading Pokemon cards like they're about to go out of style, dude.
Fantastic.
They are crazy. So what is 784 ETH? What's that, like a few $1 million, $3-4 million at this point in time? If you just look at the activity page, this thing is literally printing. Really, it looks like you could see starting in the summer. When did we have them on? Was it last summer when we had them on our show?
Yeah. Yep.
Starting from June, it's been slowly ramping up until about February or end of January. It really starts taking off. Like their highest days, 3,500 ETH in a single day, almost 100,000 purchases.
Yeah,
in a single day. And this is on Polygon too. Maybe that's why no one's talking about it. But this is another probably killer application, killer kind of, well, they're not application, but killer kind of collection where they're just they built on what they needed to do at the time, right? They launched in August of 2023, right? So base was still kind of early. Polygon at that time was the most, I guess you would say it was the best L2 at the time for Ethereum, and they just kind of stuck with it. And Pokemon cards are just trading like crazy. Like it's literally, there's so many sales that the metadata is not even uploading on these things. There is some NBA stuff that's going along with it as well. But dare I say, this is the top RWA platform right now, at least for NFTs. I know there's I know BlackRock's trying to like tokenize, money markets and stuff like this, but actual like physical items that exist in the real world for NFTs, I think this is probably the top RWA community 100%. Out there.
Facts. It's the it's I mean, for me, it's the first one I've seen like real world asset to work. Like these guys hit it. I mean, obviously we saw it early, and just there was so much smart stuff they did around it. First of all, going after Pokemon, it's just fucking smart. locking in with Brinks, like what's going to be the security infrastructure between the NFT and the physical item. Locking in with Brinks was smart. Just so much of what they did was smart. And it doesn't fucking matter that it's on Polygon, as we've talked about a million times. Literally, the chain doesn't even matter. It just has to be fast and near free. And yeah, good on them, man. We should try and get them back on, because that was
yeah, let's try to get them on next week. I'll reach out to them. That'd be cool. We definitely want to partner with them on a different NFT product that we're talking about as well, about creating. They would be really good for that, as we were talking about in Denver. Now here on the website, it looks like they have done some updating to this as well. This seems different, but this is pretty clean. We see some basketball cards, Pokemon cards, football cards that are here as well. So I was actually talking with my buddy who lives in Vegas. He does Pokemon breaks on TikTok, and he's hitting like he's generating like all-time high revenue. Like he's doing in the thousands of dollars per day of just breaking Pokemon cards. So I wonder if like TikTok is partly fueling this. But the crazy part is he didn't even know about Courtyard, and he's also in crypto. Like he was one of somebody who we used to hang out with for 4 or 5 years, like ago when Chris and I were doing meetups in Vegas for crypto. He was literally somebody who'd show up every day. He didn't even know about this. So I wonder if like if TikTok shop is what's fueling this, because this is where people are doing a lot of these breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
There's so much room for growth here, dude. I guarantee, like, my kid's never heard of this and he's huge in Pokemon. There's just so much room for growth. And just to the people who aren't into crypto, right? Yeah, it's fantastic to see, man. Like these are the use cases crypto needs badly. And super excited that these guys hit a home run, man. It's fucking awesome.
100%.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to see what was the. Yeah, I'm gonna look for like a high selling card, but Chris, yeah, give me your take on this.
Love to see it. Just kind of funny, like looking at it from like maybe a legacy banker's perspective. It's like, oh, they thought that we wanted like tokenized treasuries, but we actually just wanted tokenized Pokemon cards. Like that's what
exactly.
That was actually like the big use case. So funny there. And also if you just check out some of these, and then after that go back to their X account and just kind of look through their tweets. I mean, they're getting like maybe 10, 15, 20 user generated tweets or posts every day. People pulling cards, people pulling packs. And so their UGC is just all time. The way that they can funnel it in all over the timeline for their own marketing purposes is incredible. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cross kind of platform opportunities between us and someone like them that we can work with in the future. So, collectors, Jake is a collector, Adam's a collector. Just at their core, they collect things, right? They love, kind of connecting with these kind of products. And so, baseball cards, basketball cards, Pokemon cards, watches, they're all in the same kind of boat. And so this is a perfect use case for crypto.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're looking as we go through. Oh, I wasn't even showing. Am I showing it on here? Yeah, as you're going through the Twitter account, it looks like there's kind of two things happening here. People are buying cards and then sending them into Courtyard, and then other people are unvaulting them from Brinks and then getting the PSA there, and then they're probably going and selling it on TikTok or eBay or stuff. So there's probably some like real world arbitrage that's happening here, which is what's increasing the sales. I bet you it was probably somebody figured this out maybe like 6 months ago. And then if somebody else kind of started watching, and now you've probably got hundreds of people doing this kind of like arbitrage strategy.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah, good for them. If that's the case, then you're now tapping into a different liquidity market, right? You're tapping into the eBay liquidity. You're tapping into TikTok liquidity. Like TikTok did 15 billion in sales on TikTok Shop last year alone.
Wow.
I don't know what eBay's numbers are, but there's a few other ones like Etsy and stuff. So you're tapping into literally liquidity that's not just in crypto, domiciled in crypto, right? This is what Pudgy Penguins did as well with their plushies. So that is an awesome model. Going back to some of the highest sales. Let's see. This 2024 Pokemon sold for 3,000. It's the highest one that I see so far. 2850, 2800. Trying to see if there's like a banger one. A lot of these are, looks like it's around like 200. There's a 1200. So these are kind of, the prices are really all over the place between, I filtered $100 or higher. Oh man, here's a $50,000 card someone bought.
Woo. Is that
Man.
a glowing Charizard?
1999 Black Star promos Eevee. Oh, I have this card. It's definitely not a PSA. I do have this card in my parents' house though, to be honest. Maybe I need to sell
get it graded. Make sure you get that 9 or above grade, bro.
Yeah, I went through my cards. I did sell a few Pokemon cards in 2021. They're definitely not PSA 10s. Unfortunately.
Dude, my kid bought a box, I don't know, a couple weeks or maybe it was a month ago. And I was like, dude, you're buying, what are you doing, dude? Buying boxes, bro. I was like, at a minimum, do this. Like, buy them on this, you know, so at least you can sell them. You know what I mean? It's like they're just rotting in his closet. Yeah.
50,000. Wow. Good for Courtyard.
This is such a level better than in real life. Pokemon cards, it's so much better, dude. So much better.
It feels almost more native online than it does in the physical world, which is strange, right? But I agree.
Damn, good for them. Yeah, we'll have to get them on. I'll reach out to Jacob and see what they're doing. Sticking kind of with the real world theme, this morning CPI print came in under expectations. So inflation is improving, whether it's Trump intentionally doing this tariff stuff to, decrease, consumer demand or turn us more into a consumption-based tax economy rather than an income-based tax economy. Whatever he's doing seems to be working. The prices of Bitcoin jumped up to like 85,000. Now it's back down to, I think, is less than where it even was to start the day. That's how you know you're in a bear market. Oh, we're at 82,000 or so. It's leveling out. So back to where it started before the day. Man, it makes me wonder, how much longer of this do we have if that's the goal? I was listening to some theories, some economic theories yesterday of what Trump's trying to do here. I think Jason Friedberg had like a good post, is that he's trying to decrease in inflation, by crushing demand. And then eventually, once inflation comes down, and if the financial markets get bad, then he's trying to force Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, which then can kind of bring the market back. Makes you wonder how much longer that can happen. If CPI is going down, then that seems to be headed in the right direction for a decrease in interest rates. I'm not a macro guy at all. I just listen to monkeys talk online, literally monkey pictures, try to explain this stuff to me. Chris maybe is a little bit better here. Did you follow the CPI print, and what's your take on maybe over the next 3-4 months from a macro perspective?
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, I think just in general, Trump inherited a high stock market, high crypto prices. He gets markets. At some point there has to be some sort of mean reversion, some sort of correction. And just to kind of get this out of the way, whether intentional or unintentional, early on the presidency probably makes the most sense. If we talked about the inauguration trade, that was literally the high in the market, was the day of inauguration. It's been down since. So, I mean, I think he's probably buying himself some time. And I just think in general, like the hysteria between, non-Trumpers and Trumpers and just everyone with a voice, which is totally fine to have a voice. But I mean, just let the guy do a little bit of his job, right? He was elected by a huge majority of the country, and it's only been a month. So to kind of give him credit for inflation or blame him for the egg prices or anything, they're both kind of in the same boat for me, where you just kind of need a little bit more time to actually make your judgment. And so people are just so quick to kind of fire down the hatch at him. And I mean, it's just kind of his personality that he's super hyperbolic. But in general, I think the hysteria all around is just unwarranted. And he's a second term president, but he's only a month in. So I think just kind of give the guy a little bit more than a few weeks to cook and then actually evaluate him. That's my take.
Yeah. Let's see in November, December this year where we are. what you know is nobody knows anything. We're all just guessing, and the timeline is just guessing. Certainly, the front load the pain theory makes a lot of sense, just from a political standpoint. If you're going to instill pain through, government austerity, best to do it at the front of your term rather than later. So we'll see. That seems like what they're doing. Seems smart. Yeah, I mean, anybody crying about cutting waste and fraud. I mean, how can you? I just there's nothing to stand on, but they're out there, they're standing on it, and it's like, wow, whatever. It is what it is. So, but I think most people, will certainly with any sense, are pretty good with cutting out fraud and abuse.
Yeah, the Doge stuff is kind of interesting. So it says this just in: U.S. mortgage rates dropped for the 6th consecutive week to the lowest level since December 2024. Also, Trump just said a few minutes ago that he plans to lower taxes if the Democrats behave. Gotta love the troll factor of it, dude. Bro. This guy.
Oh, what a legend.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he gets it more than anyone. I mean, he built his career in real estate, and basically the entire economy, the American economy, is built on low interest rates. Right now, you have no deals going through. That's not only no residential real estate deals, that's no commercial deals. That's cars moving off the lot. Everything is just a reflection of interest rates and gas prices. So you get gas prices lower, and you get interest rates lower, and then the economy can actually start moving again healthily. So I think he gets that big picture better than anyone. He literally built his entire career in real estate, which is completely dependent on interest rates. And I think you see them moving down. That's a step in the right direction. That's the only direction to go.
Yeah. It's been interesting to watch Doge as well come in. And I know Tesla's been getting slaughtered because there's been like political pushback on him, but incredible the amount of money that they've saved. And I don't know if you saw recently said they found about 500 billion in, he said, literally scams and fraud in the Social Security department, which I'm not surprised, but also crazy that if Social Security was going bankrupt just because people were stealing from it this entire time, like, man, how fucking wild.
I mean, they shut down the office I used to work at here in Costa Rica. They shut down the entire thing. It's all gone. And, I'm literally in DMs with, people who used to work there, and we're joking about it. Like, who's going to pass out the plastic sheets, right? Who's going to pass out the hammers, right? It's literally, oh, well, nobody cares, and nobody's going to miss it. Nobody's going to starve. All those kind of talk about USAID. Oh my God. Trust me. Almost all of it could be shuttered and was shuttered, and nobody's going to know the difference. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. Bringing in the hammer. I just saw this just also came up on my timeline. Speaking of the Trump administration. So Howard Lutnick's company Cantor Fitzgerald is launching Bitcoin-backed lending for institutions. Seems like I've seen a lot more Bitcoin-focused institutional products starting to come to market here recently. I think Coinbase also just started Bitcoin-backed lending. They're also going to do Bitcoin perpetual trades, so perps, which was basically illegal, but they're hoping will be legalized here pretty soon. There was also a purchase today. It's funny to see how small the numbers get now. I think it was Rumble purchased 117 Bitcoin today for $17 million to add to their treasury. So you're getting now tons of different companies coming in from all over the world actually acquiring Bitcoin in much smaller amounts, right? They're not like Saylor, who said he's trying to take out now $21 billion so that he can buy more Bitcoin. But this stuff's going to get gobbled up like pretty fast.
Chris, what's your opinion on like Saylor specifically and the potentiality of them getting squeezed?
I don't think that
you know anything really
I mean, even David Bailey, all the Bitcoin Magazine guys, all those guys, their only focus is building microstrategies all over the world. They have the MetaPlanet, I think it is, in Japan. That was like the #1 performing stock in the entire world this year. Went from like 50 million to like 2 billion or something like that in a single calendar year. what people are missing is that even if you inflate your stock or sell up your stock to buy Bitcoin, you still have all the Bitcoin on the other side. So your stock might be worth less, but you have all the Bitcoin that you can post as collateral that you can lend or borrow against. And so they're just not understanding that you have even stronger money. And so there's not a single point in time where Saylor will have a note due or a series of notes due that he wouldn't be able to pay. And that comes from his revenues. And then also if he really needed cash to raise cash, he could just sell the Bitcoin. So, I mean, the strategy seems to be working out pretty well. They're trying to repeat it all over the world. And then you'll have a bunch of competition kind of coming in from some of these small, not competition, but just kind of steady buy flows from all these other kind of institutions. I think it's brilliant. I love what they're doing.
It's actually not Micro anymore. They did change their name. They're just Strategy now at this time. It'll be exciting in Vegas here in, what is it, 2 months from now? 2.5 months from now, when they're just coming up fast, when everyone's out here just going absolutely bananas. It's going to be a really good time, all the degens together. And hopefully we'll be out of the bear market. Although, not too confident on that one. It's just that for me, it's just more of a cool off period consolidation. Like throughout every cycle I've been a part of, there's 5 or 6 30% swings in Bitcoin. It's just this time the 30% swing in Bitcoin literally sent everything else to zero. Like it was a insane overcorrection. Before it was Bitcoin would, fall 30%, ETH would fall like 50%, and then the alts would hold up much better. This time there was literally nothing holding them up. But we've always had this thesis that the top wasn't going to be until 2026. So it gives good time for us and for the builders to continue on and mush forward. I think we'll wrap it up here today.
One more I just pinned, but you got to give these guys a shout. Gandhi just absolutely killing it. Just threw it up to the Jumbotron, but $450,000 loan on this one of one Beeple. They're just absolutely smashing the NFT lending market. So shout out to Gandhi.
Nice.
So I'll put it up here on the stream. I was actually quite surprised. And I think we talked about this in Denver as well. They just came out of nowhere and just basically took over the entire ETH NFT lending platforms. They surpassed NFTFi. They surpassed Arcade. I forget who the other one was. But they just came in. I don't know how they did it. It seems like I think they just focused on quality. It was like CryptoPunks and art. And we're not doing any of this other bullshit. We're just doing these kind of high quality assets.
Yep.
Chris, you're a little bit more into the lending than me. How do you think they became number one?
I think that they're just more uniformed loans is what I'm picking up. And that's kind of what I thought was a lot of maybe a bigger issue for someone like Arcade, is that you would have to post the loan and look for a lender. And so instead you just for instance, you make them more uniform, more fungible as loans. Like, a CryptoPunk, regardless of what the traits are, $40,000 with a $500 origination fee. So you can just do a lot more volume that way, rather than trying to loan. Oh, I have, a top hat punk, and so I need 85,000 for the loan that I want to accept. But that's not actually how they're doing it. They're just kind of commoditizing the loans, just making them very similar and streamlined, and getting those volumes through the door. So it's brilliant.
They do support Rare Pepe and Spells of Genesis.
But they're getting X copies. They're getting
Squiggles,
Lost Robbies, everything. So just really, really crushing it on all fronts.
It says over the weekend, they originated loans on 15 CryptoPunks, totaling 600,000 USDC in principal. The terms on each of them was 40,000 USDC principal, 180-day duration, 17% APR, and then 585 origination fee. Is the origination fee just basically whoever brokers it?
Just say, yeah, that's what you pay, like a platform fee.
It's a market fee.
Yeah, these guys are crushing it. I have started to see some people recently pop up on my timeline taking out loans against high-end art to buy the Ethereum dip. Hopefully it doesn't just keep going down like it has been.
Yeah, that was a big X copy loan.
That's what it was. Yeah. I mean, kind of smart, right? As long as they
took
108.
Yeah,
108. They took 180 days. So you would hope that's enough time. But
they were a winner on that trade. I think they got the X copy for $200K, and the loan was like $400K. I don't know. It's still risky though. You risk that. I mean, that's a super valuable X copy, but I don't know. We'll see.
If you bought it for 200 and you took the loan 400, you can still default and profit. So, fuck it. If ETH goes any lower, then I guess the Ethereum Foundation is getting liquidated, which is actually funny because we were talking about that in Denver.
I think it turns out that loan or that whatever long position is one of the founders. That's what they said. So one of those, one of the 15, multi-deca 100 millionaires is like, putting a little bit at risk there, but whatever. Big money, bro.
ETH people secretly they're all degens. Everyone's a degen
totally, dude.
At the end of the day. All right, cool. We'll wrap it up here. We'll have the show tomorrow. Everyone, if you're new to the show, we host it Tuesday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be back tomorrow at that same time. Please follow the Emblem Vault account as well as Agent Hustle, who will be launching here pretty soon. We appreciate everyone for spending your time with us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday.
Later, guys.